Hey there. What's going on, people? It's me, Zen. How are you doing? Have you noticed the amount of people that are truly nuts, like crazy? It the whole idea that the crazies have taken over the insane asylum. That old movie, and how a lot of people joke about it, like that's what's happening now. Like, the craziest have taken over the government and all of these other places and whatever. No, I'm just talking about the whole slew of people. Everywhere you look, people have there's some serious cuckoo birds out there. Some dodo birds. Some absolutely deranged lunatics walking amongst us. And I remember Dave Chappelle. When Dave Chappelle was actually Dave Chappelle before they replaced him. When he was on Inside the Actors Studio. If you haven't seen it, highly suggest to watch that interview. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Let me get a sip of coffee here. I have a cold coffee, a warm coffee, some black tea, and a slice of pizza from Little Caesars, no less. I don't know if I'm going to eat it for breakfast for real, but I might, because y'all know me. I really don't consume food until sundown. But I was feeling a little, I was feeling a little goofy today. Well, what did Dave Chappelle said? He says you can't call people crazy because it's dismissive, and I agree with this 100%. So if we do this from a level of psychological traumatic disorder awareness, and let's classify people with the and get and have empathy and sympathy towards people's you know their life, like what's going on. You can understand people are troubled, and some of it is I would say most of it is it's like the layers that people compress so that their early life trauma, their post traumatic stress disorder that everybody has to different degrees for different reasons, that they've disguised it so much. Some people live with it and they don't process it. Some people process it, but most people they have little things that the little triggers that they don't know why it's in their subconscious. But right now is what's happening it's un it's unleashing all of that. Like you know what's going on right now in the world, the whole thing that's happening, the division of culture. I mean, some people call it this that this has to we'd have to get into some Freudian stuff and some Jungian psychology and get into the idea of the parental figures and what the government is to people as a parental aspect, and some shadow self things and stuff like this. We'd have to get into that on a large scale, and I don't know if I want to go that deep in it and turn this into some psych evaluation. If we did a psych eval on the government and the world as a whole, we're not in a great place. We'd all have to sit down, and probably we'd have to put straight jackets on the world. We'd have to put straight jackets certainly on everybody in the government, and put them in a pink room. And there's a reason it's pink and not white, because they found that the color pink causes people to calm down. That they don't act as deranged and aggressive. Different colors have effects on the human psyche. Anyways, so it is everything that's going on this releasing trauma, because the insanity of what's happening and people's overreaction. This is actually, let's get into it this way. I'm going to take a little sidestep here. It's like an immune system disorder that from a psychological standpoint. That when someone overreacts to something, that's like your immune system overreacting to something, and then when it fights itself, that's you know that's what's happening too. So it's like the disease of culture, the disease, the things that are going on are as autoimmune disorders, as a grand scheme of it. Like if you look at each person as if they were a cell in a body, that's what's happening in a grand level. Is it's fighting itself. People are fighting themselves and fighting each other. So there's a immune responses is occurring for a lot of the cells in the larger body, the body politic, the world, the realm, right? And these things that are just they're just small little gambits of threats. These like the media saying something. We know most of it to be complete malarkey, nonsense. But the response that people are having, some are over defensive, some are attacking. It's a totally what the body would do. I mean, a dysfunctioning body. I just watched this post of some professor that had a helmet on. he was on a Zoom thing, and his class was saying they wanted to do some face to face. They wanted class time, and he just basically went off, f-bombing this, and if you didn't notice, the world is in complete calamity, and I'm like, well, it is, but it isn't. I mean, there's nothing really, really going on. I mean, certainly the mandates, not laws, they're not just mandates. Certainly there's stresses, and certainly people are losing jobs, and da-da-da-da. Certainly all that's going on. And certainly some people are getting a little coffee. Oh, hello, belly. Oh, no, that's feeling so good. And certainly these people are getting stabbed to death. And things are occurring because of chemicals that people are sticking into their body, certainly. But this dude's overreaction and insanity towards it is and that's not an outcast. That is literally how most people really are feeling, or how they are inside. And it's like the build up to them just losing their whole, right? It's people just losing it. Well, people look at the movie Anger Management with your boy Adam Sandler. It's a pretty simple concept. If you don't deal regularly with your stressors and your things that are causing you anxiety, and you become passive aggressive, the more passivity that you're building up so much inside that you'll lose your whole thing. You'll be a crazy person. And this is most of society is so passive aggressive that they have so much built in frustration. They're the crazy ones. And then that's what unleashes the crazy. That they have. It's like this. For me, if somebody has a fault towards me and aggress towards me, I deal with it then immediately, because I don't want to carry that around. That's not mine to carry around. If, however, I were to allow someone to pour some bullshit at me and make be reckless and rude and uneasy to me, and I'll go, oh, I'll just accept that, and I keep doing that, I'm going to build up. I have 10 or 20 of those times. That's going to be built up inside of me. That's my passivity is going to build up to that one day that I aggress when it's just a tiny little offense against me. But it's not that. It's the 50 other times that happen. That's what most people do, and why most people are psychotic maniacs, and why you'll see crazy things happen. And this is kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. It's like the wild west world out there, huh? The craziness of it. And this is a built up tension, anxiety, fears. There's There's obviously built into that, if we've got to go a little deeper into psychology, the built-in fear of death, the judgment of their gods and things like this. As this whole thing's going on, it's putting it front and center. You might die one. You might die real soon because this thing is going to kill you. Oh, that confronts them with whatever their perception of death is and who their deities are and things like this. And if you don't have a good foundation in what you think that is, that would cause you a lot of stress. And then you have the built-up anxieties of whatever your jobs are and maybe losing your job and because whatever. And then there's you can't really breathe properly because you're wearing a diaper on your head. There's that problem. So that's going to cause a lot of brain problems, not to mention all of the breathing problems and everything else. And then you're going to have all of your early life trauma that you didn't deal with, or even traumas that you are just assaults that you've taken on in your working environment, in the general public, that now are. And so we see the absolute craziness of things. We see the looniness, the Looney Tunes. And so again, that Dave Chappelle thing, he said you can't call people crazy because that's dismissive. And it's like there's so much going on. It's not being dismissive anymore. It's now it's just going, okay, well this is the crazy people. You can't just. There's not enough psychologists that are good at their job that could interact with these people. There's not enough time. There's nothing time in the day. There's not enough to assist these people. The only real solution would be to give everybody a bunch of MDMA. Sincerely, because that used to be used in psych, like it was basically worth 8 weeks of therapy because of neurological connections and how it opens up the heart chakra, etc., etc. But these people are just like wound tight, and now they're just. What's up, Divine? Well, what's up, Spirit? Hey, you're still here? Hey, sorry, our time had expired anyways whenever I was last talking to you. You still alive? Did you get some fisticuffs? Did you get some throw some blows? So, moving on to this idea here. So, because of all this and people's the calamity and the insanity, where people ask me, where is this all going? What is going? Be a prophet. What do you see in the future? And it's not. I'm not just pulling random things out the aether. Nor can I see the future. There are times I can. There are times you can. There are times everybody can. You can envision a future and it comes true. But this is such a large thing. All I'm doing is going through logical progression of things to understand what could and couldn't occur, and the larger mass psyche and the divisions of the culture and the caste systems and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I could unveil it that way. And what does it look like? Where is it all going? What's the? I'm less impressed with that and less want to talk about that because I'd rather just experience the weirdness. So the point is, I think that for most people, rather than get caught up in what does the future hold for humanity, be more concerned with what does the future hold for you. You have to understand, it's a lot more manageable. If you put yourself in what goes on the mass scale, well, if you better yourself, it will better your town, will better your city, will better your state, will better your country, will better the world. That works too. And I think if people were to focus on that and not look at it the other way, like how is the whole world crumbling, like you're not really, you can't really do much about that, can you? You're not going to go and convince Nestle to stop poisoning the water. You're not going to convince places to stop using, slave labor. You don't have any control over that. So why focus on it? Why? I mean, it's nice. It's not nice, but it's powerful to know these things. So you should be more concerned with what's good with you and laugh with the rest of it. Because what are you gonna do? You can't. You can. I can just laugh at these people. Like it's like you watch the comedians. You can tell they're frustrated, but there's their only outlet is just like, if I don't laugh at this, I will cry. I will. I would just off everything. Just out of here. Because it's too stupid to watch how dumb people have become. And their dumbness is a direct result of a grand amount of fear. So fear causes people confusion, or the other way around. You can do it either way. But fear and then confusion, these are kind of hinged together, will cause people to act unruly and without any, you can't really predict, unpredictability. So you can't really predict people's actions. I mean, you can in the sense that, here, I'll predict they're going to act wild. They'll be doing just things that, what would a normal person do? Here's, you want to know how people are going to be acting? Just go, what would a reasonably mentally healthy mental person, like a mental person, how would they respond to any situation? Now you're presenting them with so many anxiety inducing, fear inducing things going on in the media, and everything's going on. A normal person would still have trouble reacting to that. How there is no sane, there's no sane response to a completely insane environment, right? Now you just have to triple up, quadruple up how insane people will act, because it's going to be like, okay, they're actually not going to make a normal response. It's going to be so outlandish. That's what's happening. Yeah, it's like I was talking about the other day. We can't even tell the difference between what is comedic and what's really people are doing. Like the satire that people are doing. People are doing satire, and you can't really even tell at first glance. It's hard for somebody that's a dummy. They're not going to see it as satire. They'll see it. They'll think it's real. And even as somebody that is well versed in satire and people that are dry humor, it's still difficult. It shouldn't be this difficult. You should be able to know within the first couple seconds that somebody's taking the piss and being funny. What comedians are reflecting the conditions of the earth right now? I would say the best at it right now. I mean, and they don't do it as a totality, but you hear it in their humor. And it's going to be, you're going to see it a lot in Mark Normand is doing a pretty good job of it. I mean, basically, whoever the best comedians out right now are. Theo Vaughn sometimes gets into it. I mean, he's more abstract and bizarre, but when he's doing some, when he gets into a conversation with somebody, you can hear it. Theo Vaughn's okay at it. He gets it, but he's a little goofy. I mean, obviously Rogan, but as I was saying before, he's still a comedian, but Russell Brand he's got his thumb on the pulse of everything. But actual people that are doing stand up now, Normand is pretty much up there. There's a few. David Mannion. I think I gotta make a new hookah. I'm very frustrated because I was supposed to get a hookah bowl today, and they they didn't deliver it. Well, it was supposed to come yesterday. They did not deliver it. Foiled. Hmm. So where were we? Comedians that are comedians that see what's going on, that are doing a good job. And there's a lot of new like YouTubers that aren't stand-up comedians, but they're funny people, and they're at least attempting to put some humor into what's going on. And those I don't know the names of the people off the top of my head, but like stand-ups, it's been so hard to go out and see stand-up because everybody was wearing masks. They were doing it like outside, and like it was everybody wearing masks, and you're not getting. It was goofy. It was goofy during the whole super lockdown, right? So now you're just getting some comedians come back out there, and amongst them, there's only a few. Oh, here's one, Tyler Fisher. Tyler Fisher, check out Tyler Fisher. He's ripping it apart. I would say he by far has no fear whatsoever to say exactly what's going on, and I'd say he's the only one. I can't believe I didn't think of that. Yeah, and he hasn't really been doing much stand up lately, but um, yeah, he's got it mostly all correct. He just doesn't give any zero shits. Where Mark Norman still is in the well, I don't really know. I'm not that smart. I'm a comedian, but I just think about things kind of thing. Where Tyler is more like, no, this is my comedy, and this is what it is, and I'm not. Yeah. Um, and I guess we already discussed the psychological dilemmas with this for people, and getting into where is this going. I don't. So many people have asked me, and I don't know. It's like I'm not controlling the cruise ship. I'm not. I'm not the guy steering it. None of us are. So might as well just. It's like the Titanic is sinking or whatever. I'm gonna just jump in the pool. I'm gonna eat the shrimp. I'm gonna see if they got any lobster left. I don't know. Who cares? Like, what are you gonna do? I'm not saying it is sinking. I'm just saying whoever's driving is whoever's driving is they're on some hallucinogenics, and they don't know what they're doing. Yeah, I mean, it is like, you know, there's people out here that have really during they were already computer people, so they've already isolated themselves from the whole thing anyways, and so they're not even getting a full on effect. Let me see if we can understand it this way. There's people that weren't leaving their house anyways. There were people that didn't go out to bars and go out and go to the clubs and go to art galleries, and they didn't do all the stuff. So for them, this whole thing it hasn't changed anything, not much. They were already in a position of doing things from home and typing on the keyboard and ordering in. They already didn't have friends. They already weren't out there making new acquaintances. They weren't part of the thing anyways. So a lot of people were already um, in their bubble, and I think a lot of people might discount that, not understand, because people's perception is, hey, everybody goes out, everybody is going and doing their thing, and because you look at it like a New York City or Chicago, and I mean, you see it shut down for a little bit, right? But our perception is everybody was out doing that. No, there's a big number of people that I mean, I can say for where I live, there's a lot of people that they haven't left the building, and they didn't anyways, even before. They weren't even. Some people don't have cars. Some people, they weren't even shopping for themselves anyways. And as far as the people that, what is an average person's interaction with public? See, I see it in a different way because my interaction with public is 100% outside. Like, I mean, it's on here obviously with you guys, but like my life is lived in the park, in the streets, and the walking around and doing things and music and everything's outside, or at bars or restaurants and things. I wouldn't say most people live that out there. This city definitely, but other cities, like people live in suburban areas. What's their, they went to work, they came home, so they're still isolated in their little job. Because now people are working from home, so they're working from home. When were they leaving the house? To do what? They ain't going to weekend movies. They're watching at home. They grocery shop. Yeah, then they found out they could just get it order in and get their groceries delivered. What purpose do they have to leave? So, again, what I'm getting at is a large portion of society, this hasn't even had that much of a deranged effect on. It's affected the people that used to have social interaction with the public, and a lot of if you were a teacher, you had a bunch of people, students, and whatever. Like that was probably a big switch, right? And if you were somebody that maybe you did public speaking, people weren't doing that. Man, I wonder what those people did. All these little things you don't think about that. But then you have a large portion of people that are just so already in a bubble. So for them, nothing changed. Then there's a few people like, wow, this is a stark change in reality, shift. Let me remake a hookah here. You guys take a break. I'm gonna enjoy my espresso and my hookah. So give me I think I need 3 minutes of your. I'll give you 3 minutes of a break here. Hey, 27 minutes. We'll get to 30 minutes here, and I'll be right back. And in fact, let me turn some tunes on for you guys. How do you feel about that? And then you guys can direct me on what you want to dig into here. Yeah, and we'll get a little more into the introverts and the extroverts, recluses. Because that's part of the deeper psychology of what's happening on this realm, and I think and we'll use it in the sense of how is the body responding. So we have the cells, individuals that were already not doing drugs, already staying isolated, that will be what survives, right? And what will take care of the realm, the body, the planet as a whole afterwards. Because it seems like that's probably what's going to happen. If you start diseasing one part of the body, right? Like think of it. If you get the old cancer, it's somewhere in your body and it's destroying and eating away at one part, right? And it's actually taking cells and it's deranging the makeup of the DNA and causing so it's eating up and destroying these parts, right? Or whatever's happening in the body. It doesn't mean the whole thing is screwed. And so you start to heal and get rid of those things, and the rest of the body repopulates itself with healthy cells. That's how that works. So that seems like what will happen. Like we're in one sense irradiating the realm from fungus, bacteria, the parasitic forces. If we look at it from the greatest way. Now, let me. Here's 3 minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, it's probably gonna take me more than 3 minutes, so. A little more here to do than I thought. Okay, about 45 more seconds before I'm back. Talking about psychos and clowns. Right. Cool. Awesome. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here. Good to see ya. Perfect. Grand. Wonderful. Cool. Okay. Where we at here? Huh. Yeah. So many appear to be introverted. Yeah. Well, the simple introverted, extroverted. I mean, there's validation. Let's see how to explain this. People in general, their general state of being uh, is neither introverted or extroverted. Something much different. It's like if something is in something is engaging and fanciful and it's a puppy, you want to play with it. That's just general thing. And if something is like, I don't need, so it's us. For instance, the sunrise or something like this. Nothing to say. You can sit there in silence with someone, which you should be able to. But there's the introversion and extroversion comes out of usually people where they garner power from, their energy. Some people do it on their own and then expend it on other people and then invest it in other people. And then some people are extroverted because their interaction with people gives them energy. And being alone it's chaos because they don't know what to do with it. They can't, being by themselves is the worst thing ever. So I mean the idea of introversion, like, for me it really depends. It really, really depends. Most people say I'm extroverted because of how gregarious and interesting and interested and fun I can be with other people. But sometimes I'm like, oh, that's good. I'm done with that. Too many people, too much people. But that's only a result of energy. And sometimes I just like I'm tired. I'm tired of messing with all these people. I'd rather be by myself. But then obviously, and the other plays a part too. I can only sit by myself and be with myself for so long because then you stir crazy, and you go, okay, well, there's a whole thing out there, interactions of all different sorts, and those are people, and there's more me's out there. There's more of those things that are me out there that I can interact with, and that becomes a thing. It's like social interaction, and what would be considered extroversion, which is an idea of being socially wanting to socially interact. Some people are like excited in their little puppy dogs, and a lot of it is people's substance, like what they consume, or obviously primarily it's the balance of chemicals in their brain, and then whatever ones they like. Some people like to be uppers. Some people like to be away from things and do downers. But people's brain chemistry will be a big part of whether or not, like, think of it this way too. People that are extrovert, like they're out extroverted all the time, they're not necessarily happy to do it. They're a little anxious little mice or whatever. They're just like, people that just talk to fill up empty space because they're too anxious to just sit there and shut the fuck up. A lot of people like that. Can't just go comfortable silence. Yeah, and divine. You have a safe haven of a home. See, some people don't have that. Some people's homes are not safe havens. A lot of people, it's actually toxic and bad. And you have the advantage of animals. Oh, animals will change everything. I could see the huge part of, like, I wouldn't need to see a person. Whenever I lived in a cabin and I had, neighbors that had horses and, dogs and cows and whatever, I didn't. There was times I didn't see another human being for I don't know how long. Like other than like the neighbor, maybe like, hey, what's up, neighbor, or whatever. I don't see another human being for weeks. Didn't really bother me because there's animals and there was I lived in a fucking treehouse. It was awesome. There was like animals everywhere, so that was cool. And I got to see the night sky and all this. So in that way, yeah, that's awesome. But some people don't have the extra. Like, imagine living in a closet, and it's a mess. You know what I mean? You don't, and you don't. As much as people like, hey, fuck TV or whatever. If you don't have video games or TV, or maybe you don't like to read, maybe you don't have any books. I mean, there's all sorts of things that a domicile, a house, a home, or whatever isn't necessarily that for some people. A lot of people. A lot of people don't even. So, and that, as I get into many times, is the feng shui is an internal feng shui as well. That if it's not organized and comfortable out here in this little space, it's probably not comfortable in here in this space. And they reflect each other. Oh, who is the comedian? His name is Tyler. Give me a second here. Tyler Fisher. Super funny. It was about a year ago. I had heard about him because he does a lot of impersonations of people, and he's really good at it. And I think he I don't know if he was on Saturday Night Live for a season, or he got to like the final thing a couple times. He's written for some shows, I guess, but he didn't have a very big audience. It was like only like 10,000 subs. And then he came out and did a couple Joe Biden impressions and a couple other Fauci impressions, and a couple of them blew up real big. And now he has like 100,000 subs. Like now he's known. He's got like more subs than some really great comedians that everybody knows. Because there's a big difference between YouTube funny and stand-up comedians that are across the board known as those are the guys. And he was always funny. Tyler Fisher. So he just recently did some. If you just look up his, whatever his popular videos are, they're pretty amazing. No idea. I like you changed your, what up, no idea? See, there you go. You got that little Gemini in you. Multiverted. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you on that. I'm very much the same way. They're very Geministic in the sense that like sometimes I just want to be outside. There's been times I've been outside and I'll just be like, I don't want to go. I just don't want to be inside. I'll just stay outside, sleep outside, whatever. The other times I'm inside, I'm like, fuck, going out there, there's too many, it's peopling too much. Too much going on. Oh yeah, I lived in at the Garden of the Gods. No joke. There's two of them. I lived at the lesser known in Illinois. Garden of the Gods in Illinois. Check it out. And at the time, I didn't know anything about the mud floody stuff, and that these rock structures might actually be giants, that they might actually be old buildings. I didn't have that knowledge at the time when I lived there. But nonetheless, I lived in a like not a little tree house, like a full on like built out bedroom, kitchen. There was like cabins over here, a couple tree houses here. It's pretty wicked. and like and there was like a little bridge to cross to get into the treehouse. I mean, it had all heating, it had heating and air conditioning, and like it was a house, but it was pretty dope. Oh yeah, yeah. When people fill in space with just ridiculous conversation, can't stand it either. But there are some people that it's like sometimes I'm just like, just shut, just shut it. Some people do it because they're socially inept. They don't know how to interact. And some people are trying to start a conversation because they want to interact with you, but they don't know what to say. When you're the more like powerful energy, when you're the gong, when you're the cool person or whatever, and people want to talk to you, but they don't have an inlet, they'll say some weird things, and you gotta just go. You gotta somehow figure out how to navigate goofy conversation. I hate that. It's not for me. Oh, that's wicked. You got a concert series on Fridays? Uh-huh. Yeah, right around, like I didn't live at the Garden of the Gods. See, I only went there a couple times, and it's really cool. But it was far enough from where I lived that I couldn't really get there because I didn't have a vehicle. Um, and it was outside of walking distance. But I mean, I was close enough to like people had RVs and things like this, so I mean, every once in a while I'd get around and go to like little spots. I mean, I lived in the sticks, in the sticks. Oh, I'd love to build tree houses. Yeah, the dude where I stayed, he built well, two tree houses and three cabins, and he was building more when I left. It's pretty dope. Pretty dope. I would love to build them, but don't have the property. Hey, Divine, you got a bunch of trees? You want me to come build you some tree houses? I would do that. I would do that. I would go somewhere. I would go to the north to build a tree house. I mean, I would go just about anywhere. If somebody was like hire subcontractors and design out and build a house, I would go somewhere to do that. I mean, that's what I used to do for a living. I used to build houses, but um, yeah, tree house, I would do that. All right, Rebecca. Yeah, you said you should shut it down. Well, I mean, if we're all mirrors, then that's another aspect of you that wants to interact, which is the troubling part. Because like, that's the broken down, busted up reflection of me. How do I help it? But you're like, but at the same time, you go, okay, there's a million other mirrors of me that can work with that. That's not. I don't have time to look into 7 billion mirrors. Well, Divine, why don't you sell 20 of your acres, or why don't you do this? See if somebody in the South, in Louisiana, see if they want to trade acreage. You trade acreage, and I will build a treehouse down here. And you know how everybody in the community, everybody in these like communities that want to start Start a farm, start a garden, start a little community, blah, 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 right? That we know you get the land down here, and I'll tell them we have the land, and I'll go build the shit. I mean, there's plenty of people I know that would do the work. I know plenty of people that want to do it, but they don't have the upfront resource to get the land. Get the land, and then I'm sure between everybody we can come up on the doll hairs to get the materials and whatnot. And in fact, I mean, even building like off the bat, like there's, once you have property, you don't need to have any permits to build in on a vehicle, or to build a, what's it called, not the thing that's like a tent. It's the people live in, the white things, the big fucking, what the hell are they called? Anyways, I mean, that would be a start. I mean, until you start digging in the ground and putting down foundation, you don't need any permits for things. And people could build on, got 2 wheels, you build a tiny house on that, and no permits required. Teepee? Yeah. Your property has to stay intact. Whack ass. Proper 40 acres and a mule. I would rather have. I'd rather have, more properties in many places than one big property. At a certain point, that's just land just sitting there. Can't really do much with extra land, unless you want to build a city. Shit, you got enough. You could build a city, well, a small town at least. I'll always put it out there to people. Somebody wants to get the land, I'll build the shit. At least, design it out and, help build it. But you had no idea. You down? You trying to get a piece of property? Get a piece of property. All you need is a trailer, and off that trailer hitch, nothing's required. Once the property's yours, it's yours. The only thing when permits and all that bull, you got to do things. I mean, and there's even ways around that, but that takes a lot of effort and paperwork and stuff. But yeah, if you put it on, just build it self-sufficient on top of it, you're good. Oh, they wouldn't have a dump? Oh, I don't. Well, Divine, you could lease it. You could lease property, and contractually make it part of the lease that's not allowed. I mean, if you and it didn't even have to be. You know what? Really, you could be like way away from your property, and you still have lease. You still be landowner. You give somebody a long lease, but it could be a 100-year lease. It could be until you're done, right? Or whatever. But even in that lease, there would still be bound to the contract. You can't do this. You can't do that. Yeah, no idea. Well, if anybody wants to, my only requirements is I want to be near New Orleans. I wouldn't mind having land a little ways from here, but as far as cityscape, and I don't expect the world to go complete, chart. I don't expect it to turn into like what everybody else thinks. And no matter what, I'm a bridge worker. I like the city. I like the country. And there's not another city that I'd rather live near. Climate wise, people wise, everything wise, this is where I live. So it'd have to be in Louisiana. And there's plenty of property within 20 miles of New Orleans proper to get cheap land. So if anybody's down, be easy, cheesy, chicken lemon squeezy. People who rent or lease have more rights than owners. Well, that's not completely true, Divine. Leasing property, depending on the state you live in, depending on the state's laws. Like in New Orleans, landowners and lease if you lease or rent, or there's more rights for them by far. In this city, everybody knows it. No one. It's to get away from people squatting and doing all the like not paying, and there's a lot more in the hands of a lot more power in the hand of the landowners and leasers. Excuse me. Other states, other cities have different rules, which put a lot of power into the people that are renting. But yeah, nonetheless. Yeah, well, I mean, I would assume that seems peculiar at best, and someone got hustled. I would say, or your whatever the rules are in Maine. I don't know. Whatever. Man, I need to get a stronger foundation for this. Come on now. My tripod is being wonky. Wonky is such a funny word. Come on now. There we go. That's good. I think in the largest terms of land, having water, a creek, or some sort of water source would be not hugely important, but it would be up there, I mean, just off the giddy up, just to have a piece of land. You can make do without it in a short term. At least having a piece of land to do that. Being fully off grid and not having to rely on water piped in, whatever. But yeah. all you got to do is move to the U.S. from the U.K. Well, that's all you got to do. Do it. The hell. You already got everything. See, Divine's got a brook, a stream, and a pond. I don't even know what is the difference between a brook and a stream, and a pond. And a river? Holy shit. Well, no idea. Get to it. What the hell are you doing? Time's wasting. We gotta manifest this. You gotta do it. You gotta just get here. Let's get it done. The weather here is better than where you are. It's gonna be 75 in 2 days. It's December 20th. It's gonna be 75 degrees. It's 50 today, so it's no good. Breakfast, English breakfast. It requires a little bit of cream. Maybe I put too much in. We'll see. Yep. I normally don't take milk in my tea, but English breakfast and Céline sometimes. A little bit of cream is nice. Gotta have cream in the coffee. Gotta have cream in the coffee. Anybody that doesn't put cream in their coffee just says, "Oh, I want my black coffee, no sugar, no cream." Like, you're retarded. I don't see it. I don't like it. I don't want it. But tea doesn't ever really require it. I'd rather go the lemony route. Lemon or lime or some sort of citrus aspect for the teas usually. Okay, maybe that's what I'm doing this year. All right, from now on, all of these shows are dedicated to encouraging people to get their asses to Louisiana, get land, and start building some tiny mobile homes. That's what's up. And really, it's kind of a good idea because as far as all of the things go, how to plant properly, like things that people don't even know about how to garden, like what kind of tools to use. People don't even know this. Like, you shouldn't be using steel tools. You should be using copper tools because of what it does to the earth and how it energizes, put ions into the earth. How to plant, what kinds of male and female dynamics there are in seeds, and where they should go, and you should never be planting in rows. And there's things that other people do not know, even that have been gardening for years, that I know how to do, and building things, top to bottom. I can build a house, all sorts of weird shit that I know. Why I'm not doing it? I don't got that currency or the assistance to do it. I can't do it by myself, and it'd be boring to do it by myself. Interestingly, there's this dude, I think it was Alvin Kamara, dude that plays for the Saints. He bought a piece of land in the middle of the city, and it's a tiny little corner spot, and on it he put 4 small mobile tiny homes, but used, I think, all of them. He made them out like outdoor businesses. So he's like 4 different little businesses on the same property. So there's like here, there are restaurants like in it's not a strip mall, but like there's a whole outdoor space in the middle. It's like all outdoor eating, TVs and trees and stuff. And there's like 5 tiny restaurants that are housed around it. And then he took it up to a different level where he put them all off the ground. They're all separate little entities, but they're on one little plot of land in the middle of the city. It's like a, I don't know, quarter acre, small little plot. I mean, can even like the idea that I have could even be done in the city. It's just like the getting a piece of property for that cheap, probably not gonna happen. Yeah, I mean, all right, no idea. Yeah, all you need is really a corner garden. There are city gardens here. There's 2 gardens that you can go to on Saturdays and Sundays that They got goats in the middle, like right next to the highway. Like it's in the cut. It's like right before you kind of get into sketchy ghetto neighborhood, but because they got the land for next to nothing, and it's seriously probably like half an acre. But they're growing enough food and stuff where on Sundays you go there and they got a couple goats and it's pretty awesome. And they do yoga. They do goat yoga. It's pretty cool. And there's a place that's called Music. You should look it up. It's called Music Box Village. And now that's on the other side of town. Now that's in the cut. But they got enough property, and it used to be like just this is kind of a garbage part of New Orleans that they start around there. They started gentrifying a little bit, but they turned the spot into this really cool art commune basically. But it's all set up like lit up and different little houses and outdoor music space, and it's far enough away where it's not bothering anybody. And they got it for next. I don't know how many years it's been there, so they got it for real cheap. And now it's like a cozy little village. So they do all sorts of shows and things at. And it's funny. I've lived here so long, and I know people that have like lived there. I know people that party there, and I've never been. It's just because it's outside of where I traverse to. It's just far enough away where I just have never made it there. It's like, oh, I'll go next weekend with these people, and I just never made it. But it's I've seen pictures, and it's pretty awesome. Yeah, no idea. Look it up. Look up. Just go to a map, and then just put in Music Box Village, and then scroll through some pictures on maybe on Yelp or something. I don't know if it's on Yelp, but you can find cool pictures of it. Man, this thing is giving me issues here, boss. Hold on. The boss sauce. Okay, that'll do just fine. Well, actually, there's a lot of spots that are really not too far from what I consider New Orleans. There's a city right here, and I live in New Orleans. Not too far outside of here, on the outskirts, that there's all sorts of little places that are. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's not It's kind of more run down, but the people of little hippie communes like that are set up where they got enough land and I would do it. I'm not a hippie. Despite what it may appear as, I'm not a hipster, I'm not a hippie. I ain't down with all that. They're a little, because usually you say hippie, they're sloppy, messy, dreaded out. They're stanking people. But anyway, so they have those little villages of people that have, make music and have little parties and whatever on their land. And it's not too far. It's not really outside of being close enough to, get on a bus even. Like there's enough places where it's close enough to a bus line where you get in the city. And for me, that's important, or at least being close enough, to get here by a vehicle. But I don't really prefer cars. Anyways. Now you got me wanting to look up this Music Box Village. It's kind of motivating me. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll put out an all call for people to get on this, getting a piece of land. Shit. Because really, rent, and I mean, having all of the access that I have where I live for what I pay is pretty decent, but what I pay versus just scooping up some land and building on it, the things that I would give up, I think I'd gain more by having, even if it wasn't as close as I want to be to everything. Give me a second here. Let me see if I can find it. See if I can find you guys some pictures. Uno momento. Well, let's do this, since there's not too many people here now, and usually when I start another show, maybe some people will show up. I will leave you with this. I'll show you a couple pictures, and then I'll be back in a little bit. And to remind people here, if you want to, you can always support me through donating. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo is in the description box beneath. It's TsarXen. That's Cash App and PayPal. And here's some pictures of this thing. Come on now. Come on now. Let's see if you guys can see this. Kind of wicked, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna get out of here, and I'll be doing another show in a little bit. I'm gonna snack on my pizza pie now, and drink the rest of my coffee. But I'll be back on here in, I don't know, give me probably less than half an hour. I kind of just want to do this and use go duty, and then I'll be back. But good to see everybody. Stay cool, be weird, and I'll chat with you guys soon. Remember, take care of yourself, because you're the most important thing in this world. For your story, for your life, take care of yourself. And when you can, help out others, especially like me, because I'm crazy. I need help too. Yeah. Donations are always happily accepted. Yeah, be weird. I'll talk to you guys soon. Toodles.